Bone's claws. Wolverine's transformation into a more savage, raw version of himself began when Magneto took away his adamantium skeleton in the Fatal Attraction storyline of 1994. Before this moment, it was believed that Wolverine's claws were an enhancement given to him by the Weapon X program, forged into his bones with indestructible metal. But with the loss of the adamantium, the true nature of Wolverine's claws was revealed. He had bone claws all along, sharp and spiky, just as dangerous as their metal counterparts. With this revelation, Wolverine became something even fiercer, more feral. His claws, now made of bone, were not as precise, but they were far deadlier in their own right. This shift made Wolverine more vulnerable and more human. He wasn't invincible anymore. His fights became more intense, with the bone claws delivering brutal, bloody consequences. And even though his healing factor could still repair him, the bone claws left him more exposed, less unstoppable than before. Seeing Wolverine struggle with these limitations added a new layer to his character. His vulnerability made him feel more real, reminding readers that even the most powerful heroes can have weaknesses. This shift in Wolverine's strength and tactics also led to some of the best battles in his history, especially the 3 legendary encounters with Sabretooth during this era. Each one, written by different legendary authors, had its stakes, as Wolverine's raw, unrefined bone claws made every fight feel unpredictable and more personal. Overall, the bone claws became a symbol of Wolverine's true nature, a reminder that even a hero with healing powers and immense strength can be broken down, making him even more dangerous. Adamantium claws. Wolverine's adamantium claws are more than just weapons. They are a symbol of his brutal power and unrelenting nature. 3 razor-sharp blades, retractable and deadly. These claws are the perfect tool for Wolverine to get up close and personal with anyone who crosses his path. But there's more to them than just being sharp metal. They represent Wolverine at his core, ferocious, unstoppable, and deadly. With these claws, he can make clean kills while leaving a trail of blood behind, a signature of his unyielding rage. The volume of lives taken by these claws is staggering, truly cementing Wolverine's legacy as one of the most fearsome characters in comics. In the Ultimate X-Men universe, Wolverine's rivalry with Sabretooth takes on a new level of chaos. Ultimate Sabretooth is depicted as even more unhinged, with a thirst for proving he's superior to Wolverine at any cost. To match Wolverine, this version of Sabretooth is given claws that resemble Wolverine's own, but with one twist. He has 4 claws instead of 3. This makes him even more dangerous, as he's not just a foe, but a relentless force of nature. His desire to destroy Wolverine and anyone in his way puts him on a collision course with Wolverine that few can survive. Back in the regular Marvel universe, the nature of adamantium itself is sometimes misunderstood. Introduced as the strongest, nearly indestructible metal, it has since been broken and changed into secondary adamantium. This weaker version of the metal is often cited to explain those instances when it's damaged. Another key question surrounds the idea of coating Wolverine's bones with this unbreakable metal. It was revealed that rather than hindering his bones, the bonding process actually allows Wolverine's skeleton to function normally. The adamantium becomes a unique form of metal that can breathe and coexist with Wolverine's living tissue, keeping him the unstoppable force fans know and love. Psionic claws. In the MC2 universe, Wild Thing is Wolverine's daughter, and she carries a dangerous legacy with her, one defined by her unique psionic claws. These claws are not like her father's adamantium blades. Instead, they have a psychic edge, much like the mental powers of Jean Grey. But what makes Wild Thing's claws so terrifying is how she can make them real. At first, they appear as psychic manifestations, capable of slicing through minds rather than bodies. The claws strike opponents mentally, causing excruciating psychic pain. However, Wild Thing is no slouch in combat. She doesn't just rely on her psychic abilities. She's been trained in multiple martial arts, a gift from both of her parents. Her skills make her a formidable hand-to-hand combatant, and when she brings her psionic claws into play, the stakes rise even higher. With concentration, she can solidify the claws, turning them into physical blades that can cut through most materials. These claws allow her to not only slice through the physical world, but also connect to her enemies on a mental level, disabling, blocking, or even controlling their movements. Her claws aren't just about strength or the ability to inflict physical harm. They're a unique combination of raw power and psychic energy. When Wild Thing uses them, she taps into both her inherited ferocity from Wolverine and the refined, dangerous powers of her mind. Her claws are a mix of primal instinct and psionic precision, making her a terrifying figure capable of taking on anyone who stands in her way. In many ways, Wild Thing's claws represent her journey to fully embrace both parts of her inheritance, the violent, wild nature of her father, and the complex, powerful abilities of her psychic potential. A lethal combination indeed. Hot claws. When Wolverine was resurrected by a mutant named Persephone, something unexpected happened. His healing factor was pushed to a level no one had ever seen before. This boost brought with it a new deadly power, the hot claws. His claws, once just indestructible adamantium blades, now glowed white hot, ready to cut through anything with precision and efficiency. A single poke from one of these claws could be enough to end a life. Unlike the fire claws that followed, the hot claws were sharper and more controlled. Wolverine didn't need to rage to bring out this power anymore. It became something he could use with deadly accuracy. While Wolverine's healing factor worked overtime, it created excess heat energy. This heat manifested itself in his claws, making them burn so hot that anything they touched was instantly incinerated. At first, these hot claws were tied to his berserker rages, a byproduct of Logan's emotional turmoil, but as he learned to control them, they became his weapon of choice in his quieter, more deliberate moments of battle. They made him even deadlier, but at a price. Each strike drained his healing factor, making him more vulnerable to harm. With each swing, he lost a little of what made him Wolverine, his self-healing abilities. Then in Marvel's Return of Wolverine miniseries, the truth about his hot claws came to light. It wasn't just rage that made his claws burn bright, but the extreme power Persephone had given him. She had turbocharged his dormant healing factor, and the excess energy manifested as heat in his claws. But using them took a toll. Healing was slowed, and Wolverine was left more susceptible to injury. The hot claws represented something darker in him: death, rage, and the loss of control. This power, though, wasn't meant to last. Writer Charles Soule left the fate of the hot claws open-ended. Logan's healing factor stabilized, and the intense heat might fade away, but it left behind the legacy of a Wolverine who could be both unstoppable and vulnerable at the same time. Diamond Claws, Diamond Patch. In the alternate reality of Warp World, created by the Infinity Stones, something strange happened. Wolverine and Emma Frost were fused, creating a powerful new entity known as Diamond Patch. With this fusion, Wolverine gained claws, unlike anything he had ever wielded before. These claws were no longer the typical adamantium, but instead, they were made of diamond, stronger, sharper, and able to cut through anything. But these claws weren't just for combat. They granted Diamond Patch a unique telepathic ability, which he activated whenever he used them to wound an opponent. When Diamond Patch struck someone, he could read their mind, allowing him to know their thoughts and secrets instantly. Not only this version of Wolverine, now enhanced with Emma Frost's telepathic powers, became a formidable force in the Infinity Wars storyline. The power of Diamond Patch wasn't just in his claws. His new telepathic abilities gave him an edge, making him not just a skilled fighter, but also a psychic powerhouse. Whenever he used his diamond claws to strike, he could tap into the victim's mind, reading their intentions or confirming if they were telling the truth. This made him even more dangerous because his claws were no longer just about physical destruction. They could provide mental insight too. Also, Diamond Patch's first encounter with Loki showed just how lethal these abilities could be. When Loki arrives at the X-Mansion asking for help, Diamond Patch quickly stabs him with his claws, gaining a mental read of Loki's intentions. At this moment, it became clear how dangerous this combination of powers was. His diamond claws could slice through enemies with ease, while his telepathic abilities made him nearly impossible to deceive. This merging of Wolverine and Emma Frost's abilities made Diamond Patch one of the most powerful versions of Wolverine ever created. His diamond claws weren't just a weapon, they were a bridge to his telepathic powers, giving him a unique advantage over his enemies. His combination of fierce violence and mental abilities would have made him an unstoppable force in the Marvel Universe. Bat Claws. Dark Claws. In the Amalgam Comics universe, a unique hero was born from the fusion of two iconic figures, Batman and Wolverine. This new entity, known as Dark Claw, combined the raw power of Wolverine with Batman's intelligence and detective skills. But with this fusion came a new set of claws, and they were unlike anything seen before. Dark Claw's claws were made from the indestructible metal adamantium, just like Wolverine's. But with his new abilities, these claws became a cutting force beyond belief. Not only could they slice through almost any material, but their strength and precision were amplified by the fusion of both men's bodies. His claws could cut, pierce, and destroy anything in his way with the greatest of ease. But the power didn't stop there. Dark Claw's healing factor, a gift from his Wolverine half, gave him an almost supernatural ability to recover from injuries. His body would regenerate at an incredible speed, making him immune to most toxins and diseases. He could even regenerate entire organs like his eyes if they were destroyed. This healing factor also allowed him to push his body beyond normal human limits, giving him strength and agility that were far superior to that of an average person. Along with his enhanced physical abilities, Dark Claw's senses were superhuman. His vision, hearing, and sense of smell were all at peak levels, allowing him to track enemies and detect danger from miles away. This made him an exceptional tracker and fighter, capable of taking down opponents before they even knew he was there. Intellectually, Dark Claw was a force to be reckoned with as well. He was a master tactician, a brilliant scientist, and a world-class criminologist. His intellect allowed him to outthink and outmaneuver his enemies, and his training in martial arts and escape artistry made him a perfect warrior in any situation. Dark Claw wasn't just a man of brawn, but of brains and stealth. With gadgets like his utility belt, claw rings, and the clawcopter, Dark Claw was ready for anything, making him a nearly unstoppable hero in his world. Phoenix Claws. Wolverine, as an avatar of the Phoenix Force, transforms into something far beyond the iconic berserker we all know. The Phoenix Force, a cosmic entity of immense power, merges with Logan's already extraordinary abilities, making him the most formidable version of himself. The Phoenix's control over space and time adds layers of power to Wolverine's healing factor, creating a being nearly impossible to defeat. His adamantium claws, though still deadly, seem less relevant when compared to the destructive cosmic force coursing through his body. Furthermore, in Jean Grey 2, a twist of fate changes history. Instead of Jean Grey merging with the Phoenix, Logan does. His impressive healing factor saves the X-Men during a critical mission, but the Phoenix Force quickly takes hold of him. Fueled by the anger from his tortured past with Weapon X, Wolverine becomes a chaotic force. The Phoenix amplifies his emotions, turning his berserker rage into something catastrophic. This version of Wolverine is on a new level. The Phoenix Force not only enhances his healing and strength, but allows him to manipulate the fabric of reality itself. His claws, once sharp enough to cut through anything, seem small in comparison to the cosmic powers at his fingertips. Phoenix Wolverine's rage, combined with the cosmic might of the Phoenix, becomes a threat unlike any other. However, the Phoenix doesn't just provide power, it challenges Logan's very identity. Struggling to control his emotions, Wolverine becomes a danger not only to his enemies, but to his allies as well. Even his closest friends, Jean and Cyclops, follow him, knowing they have to stop him before the power of the Phoenix consumes him entirely. The Phoenix claws may cut, but the power to destroy entire worlds lies in Wolverine's grasp. Odin-blessed claws. Wolverine was once known for his deadly adamantium claws, but during the Fear Itself event, his power reached new divine heights. When an ancient threat arose, Wolverine, along with other heroes, was granted a rare gift by Odin himself. This blessing transformed Wolverine into one of the most dangerous versions of himself, with Asgardian armor and a godly aura that radiated through his claws. As the Odin force coursed through his veins, Wolverine's body was imbued with the essence of the gods. His claws, now glowing with divine energy, became even more lethal, cutting through enemies with the force of the gods. Alongside this new power, Wolverine was encased in armor made from the same enchanted metal as Thor's hammer. Unlike the other Avengers, who wielded Asgardian weapons, Wolverine's entire adamantium skeleton was transformed into an unstoppable weapon, making him a one-person army. Moreover, the power flowing through him allowed Wolverine to perform feats previously unimaginable. His claws, powered by the Odin force, were able to cut through the mighty Juggernaut, whose strength was enhanced by the same magical energy. This version of Wolverine was not only physically enhanced, but also carried the full weight of divine strength, making him a godlike figure capable of taking on the fiercest enemies. However, as with all things divine, the power was fleeting. Once the battle was over and the enemy defeated, Odin took back his gifts, returning Wolverine to his normal state. Despite this, the brief period when Wolverine wielded the Odin-blessed claws showed just how dangerous and unstoppable he could become with a fraction of divine power. Venom claws. Wolverine's power took on a whole new level when he bonded with the Venom symbiote. This unlikely fusion first happened during the Vietnam War when Logan faced off against the Grendel spawns, but the more significant and terrifying bond came later when a clone of Venom was forcefully grafted onto Wolverine. This bond left Logan at the mercy of the symbiote's will, and what followed was nothing short of a monstrous transformation. With Venom coursing through him, Logan grew in size and strength. His claws, already sharp and deadly, extended to terrifying lengths, easily as long as a full-grown person. His fists became larger than most people's torsos, making him an unstoppable force of nature. On top of his physical augmentations, Logan gained the full range of spider-like powers that Venom's hosts typically received. He could cling to walls, had enhanced agility, and possessed the strength and speed to rival some of the deadliest creatures alive. However, the symbiote had one glaring weakness. It was vulnerable to sonic attacks. Despite Wolverine's newfound powers, he was not immune to the symbiote's weaknesses. After a chaotic struggle, Logan was freed from the bond, but it left fans wondering about the possibility of more symbiotic chaos in the future. Wolverine's time with Venom didn't end there though. He has been enhanced by the symbiote multiple times since. His claws, when bonded with the Venom symbiote, became even more terrifying. Wispy tendrils of symbiote material would emerge from his claws, making them sharper, more flexible, and deadly in combat. In some instances, Wolverine has also been consumed by the poison symbiote, fully coating his claws and further enhancing their power. The symbiote made his already formidable claws nearly unstoppable, combining the sheer force of Logan's adamantium skeleton with the symbiote's destructive abilities. Summing up, this feral, symbiotic version of Wolverine remains one of his most feared forms, leaving fans yearning for more. Fire claws. Finally, Wolverine's fire claws, born from a fiery bond with a spirit of vengeance, brought out a terrifying side of Logan few could have imagined. This story began when Mephisto, the ruler of Hell, grew tired of humanity's predictable chaos. Seeking entertainment, he unleashed a demon named Bagragol. At first, the demon was tied to a young boy, but later, it found its true vessel, Wolverine. Once bonded, Logan transformed into the fearsome Hellverine. This wasn't just Wolverine with a few upgrades, it was a nightmarish fusion of primal rage and hellfire. His adamantium claws burned with ethereal flames, making them deadly to both the living and the dead. A single slash from these claws wasn't just physically devastating, it carried the searing wrath of hell itself. This version of Logan was more than a beast. He was a harbinger of vengeance, with powers so immense they rivaled the strongest spirits of vengeance. Additionally, Hellverine wasn't just about destruction though. Logan's inner strength and humanity shone through as he managed to maintain control over the spirit. When the spirit tried to leave and bond with another soul, Logan's sheer willpower pulled it back, proving that even amidst the fire and fury, his essence remained unbroken. The power of Hellverine reached its peak when Logan reunited with his son Akihiro. In an act of both love and trust, Logan passed the spirit of vengeance to Akihiro, marking the end of his fiery chapter. This moment showed that even with the immense power of Hellfire running through his veins, Logan could still choose his path, proving his resilience once again. Well, the legacy of Wolverine's fire claws remains one of the most fearsome chapters in comic lore. Hellverine wasn't just about raw power, it was a story of control, redemption, and the eternal struggle between man and beast. If you wielded the power of Hellverine, complete with flaming claws and near limitless wrath, would you choose destruction or redemption? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. If you want to learn about every evil Batman, click the video link on the right of your screen. I'll see you there.